Okay, so, ready for a deep dive?
Always. What are we diving into today?
Well, let's talk about The Gadget. Have you heard of it?
The Gadget. Yeah, that play, right?
Yeah.
By Pasquale M. Palmieri?
You got it.
Okay, so what about it? What's the angle here?
So, it's about the atomic bomb, right?
Yeah, heavy stuff.
But, and here's the thing.
Okay.
We're not going to, analyze the play itself.
Right.
But we are going to use it, as a jumping off point.
I like where this is going.
To explore some seriously, mind-bending questions, right?
Lay it on me.
Think science, history, even how do we know anything for sure?
Okay, I'm intrigued. But the Gadget, it's about the atomic bomb. How do we get there?
Well, imagine, we're eavesdropping on this conversation, right?
Yeah.
At, a super exclusive botch club.
Botch club. This is getting good.
Right. And our Bosch buddies for the day.
Yeah.
Einstein, Feynman, and Sherlock Holmes.
Hold up. Are we talking time travel now, too?
Well, not literally. In the play, they're just Al, Rick, and Cheryl.
Okay, I'm following. So they're just hanging out talking atomic bombs.
Not exactly. It's more like the playwright uses these characters, right?
Yeah.
Their personalities, their quirks.
I'm with you.
To kind of explore these big ideas.
So it's like using their voices to tackle these massive concepts.
Exactly. Early on, they're debating, get this,
Yes.
whether hot tea burns your lips because of atoms or gravity.
Okay, that's surprisingly deep for a bunch of guys playing botch.
Right. And that's just the beginning. It goes even deeper. They talk about how much we think we know.
Yeah.
Versus what science can actually prove.
And that's where Feynman comes in, right? With that famous quote.
You know it. If you thought that science was certain.
It's an error on your part. Man, that's such a good one.
Right. Because it reminds us, even our most basic scientific principles.
They're always evolving.
Exactly. They're built on this foundation of questioning, right?
Always got to keep digging for the truth.
And sometimes those truths, they're not what we expect.
Ooh, okay, I see where you're going with this.
Take the moon landing. You think that's a done deal, right?
Oh, I mean...
But in the play, they use that whole one small step thing.
Oh, wow. All right.
Not to celebrate, but to make us question it.
They bring up all those conspiracy theories, don't they?
Oh, yeah, all the classics, fake photos, the missing stars, the whole 9 yards.
We think we know what happened, but do we really?
And that's what's so brilliant about this play. It's not just about the moon landing, right?
They're bigger than that.
It's about how easily doubt can creep in about anything.
Especially now, right? Misinformation everywhere.
It's overwhelming.
Totally.
But instead of ignoring it...
Which would be easier, honestly.
Palmieri, he leans into it, all that complexity.
He doesn't let us off easy, does he?
And then, just when you think you've got a handle on things...
Okay.
He throws in this new character, a woman named Ain.
Ain. That name sounds familiar.
Oh, it should. It's a pretty clear nod to Ayn Rand.
The writer, the philosopher. Wow, okay.
Right. The one with the very strong opinions about, everything.
This is getting interesting. So what does Ain bring to the table?
Well, she waltzes in, all confidence, and says, I am God.
She what?
You heard me right.
Okay, now I really want to read this play.
I told you, it's a wild ride. But bringing in a character like that...
Makes you think, huh?
Totally. Are science and spirituality really that different?
Good question.
And how does that play out in a world on the brink of, everything changing?
All right, you've definitely hooked me. Where do we go from here?
So last time, we left things a little tense at the Botch Club. Akin, our resident deity, just dropped a truth bomb. War is coming.
And not just any war. This is the kind of conflict that could rewrite history, reshape the world as we know it.
It makes you think, what kind of mind even goes there to that level of destruction?
It's chilling when you really think about it. Have those in charge, the ones with the power, have they just become so disconnected from what it all means?
Right, the human cost of it all. It's easy to forget when you're talking strategy, geopolitics, all that.
Totally. It's we, as a society, we kind of push those uncomfortable truths away. Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Exactly. It's easier to focus on the day-to-day, the stuff we can control.
A global apocalypse? Yeah, no thanks. I'd rather just worry about what's for dinner.
But Palmieri, he's not letting us off that easy, is he? He uses his characters, that dialogue, to force us to confront that denial.
And just when you thought things couldn't get any weirder, remember that blackout?
Oh, yeah. Total darkness. Sets the mood, right?
So Nath, the club owner, he runs off to find some fuel for the generator. But before he goes, Cheryl, Ever, the detective.
What does he do?
He uses that opportunity. He grills Ain, wants to know point blank, What's the deal with this war? Who's fighting whom? What's at stake? He's relentless.
I mean, he is Sherlock Holmes, right? Even if it's a god he's interrogating. So does Ain crack? Does she give him the details?
She does, but not how you'd expect. No names, no dates, no specific countries.
So how does she describe it?
She talks about those in power, the ones who are supposed to be protecting us, right? But instead, they're the ones pushing us closer and closer to the edge.
And I bet that doesn't sit well with Al and Rick, does it? They were both involved in the Manhattan Project.
You can practically see the guilt eating at them. Al, he talks about the fear during World War II that Hitler might get the bomb first.
Right, the ultimate justification.
And then Rick chimes in, the pragmatist, saying they had no idea the bomb would be so destructive that they just wanted the war to end.
It's that classic dilemma, isn't it? The ends justify the means. But what happens when the means are so terrifyingly powerful?
And that's what Ain throws back at them. It's not enough to say, we didn't know. Ignorance isn't a shield when you're dealing with something like splitting the atom.
There's a reason they call it the atomic age, right? Changed everything.
And Anne, she drives that point home with this line. You have no idea of what could happen to the entire galaxy, as you still don't fully understand the physics of splitting the atom.
So we're not just talking about our planet anymore, it's bigger than that.
Much bigger. Remember we talked about quantum entanglement? That idea that everything is connected?
Oh yeah, like a cosmic web.
And suggests that the consequences, they go beyond our understanding. Splitting the atom, it had ripple effects, echoes across the universe.
So it's like a chain reaction, but on a cosmic scale.
And we're just starting to understand the implications. Makes you think, what is our place in all of this? Are we just a cosmic accident waiting to happen?
I mean, if what Ayn is saying is true about this other intelligent species out there, this unseen force.
You think they're connected to this somehow? To this war?
Well, Ayn implies that it's not random, this conflict, that it's part of some larger pattern, something that's been going on for a long, long time.
And that these beings, they've been influencing us, manipulating events.
She suggests they thrive on our chaos, on our wars. It's like we're providing them with something they need.
Okay, now that is just creepy. Like we're being farmed. But for what? What could they possibly gain from our self-destruction?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And thankfully, Ayn has some thoughts on that. She thinks they need us for something we have that they need.
All right, you're killing me with the cliffhangers here. What is it? What do we have?
Well, for that, we're going to have to wait for the final part of our deep dive. All right, duck divers, buckle up, because we're in the final stretch. Back to the Gadget. That Bosch Club is still in the dark, literally and figuratively. Ayn just blew our minds with this whole humanity as a cosmic battery theory.
I know, right? And we're left wondering, what do these unseen puppet masters want from us? It's like we're cattle, but for what purpose?
Well, let's see if we can get some answers. The scene picks up where we left off. Neth's out getting fuel. Our three science-minded buddies are stuck with a self-proclaimed god. Talk about awkward silence breaker.
You're no kidding. But knowing Cheryl, he's not letting this opportunity slip away. He wants to know what Ayn's going to do about this impending war. Will she intervene?
So does she whip out her divine to-do list? Save humanity, check.
Not quite. This is where Palmieri gets really interesting. He swerves away from the obvious. Instead of grand gestures, Ayn brings up energy.
Energy, what, like those cosmic vibes people talk about?
Not exactly. She's talking about splitting the atom, that whole unleashing the power of the universe kind of energy.
Okay, but we already know how dangerous that is. She's not suggesting nuclear weapons are the answer, is she?
No. She actually uses the bomb as an example of how much we don't understand. She's saying that splitting the atom, it did something nobody, not even a god, apparently expected.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. It's like that old saying, if it ain't broke, don't split the atom. So what did it do?
Well, Ayn makes this connection between this new energy and consciousness. Our consciousness. Like our thoughts or beliefs.
Wait, hold up. Is she saying that our minds can, change reality?
It's a trippy concept, right? She uses this analogy of a seed. Splitting the atom, it's like planting a seed. But this seed contains the potential to change everything.
Okay, but a seed needs the right conditions to grow, doesn't it? So what are the right conditions for our collective consciousness?
That's the million-dollar question. Ayn seems to think that this unseen species, they're afraid of that very power. They need us to stay in the dark because if we ever fully wake up, game over.
Whoa. So they're not just manipulating us, they're suppressing us.
That's the implication, yeah. Like they want us to be good little batteries, but not too powerful, not too aware.
This is some next level stuff. So what happens? Does humanity tap into that potential?
Here's where it gets interesting and frustrating all at the same time. The play ends abruptly. The lights come back on. Nath returns with the fuel. Everyone just kind of goes back to their game.
Seriously, that's it. No big reveal, no cosmic battle.
Nope. And that's what makes the Gadget so powerful. It's not about giving us the answers. It's about making us ask the questions.
So what questions should our listeners be asking?
Well, for me, it's about looking beyond the surface. We often go through life accepting things at face value, but what if? Just what if there's more to the story?
Like, what if our thoughts or beliefs, they have a power we haven't even begun to understand?
Exactly. And if that's true, then we're not just passengers on this ride. We're the ones holding the wheel.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
That's what we're here for. But for now, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Don't worry, there are always more questions to explore, more rabbit holes to dive into. But until next time, keep those minds open and those questions coming. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.